So, good evening, everybody. I would like to thank you all for taking your time and to be here with us today. It's a real proof that our work is of interest and all the efforts worth having. I would like to share with you for the beginning the agenda of this event. In case also the computer is helping me to do this. Let's try once again. So we already started, in fact. Then we have three special guests. Dr. Nicholas Snowden, MBA Academic Director at the University of Hull. We have Professor David Bright, Honorary Fellow at Cluj University. And we have Mr. Tiberiu Moise, Deputy CEO at Banca Transilvania and President of the Board at TE. After they will share with us their thoughts about this event, about the book, and about the MBA, we shall proceed by presenting the book by its four big parts. We shall also have some inputs from some of the authors. Then we shall invite people who attend this event to address questions to everybody that is present here. And in the end, we shall ask Dr. Andrew Taylor, Managing Director at Transilvania Executive Education, to close this event and also to share his thoughts. At the beginning, I would like to spread some thanks. And first of all, I would like to thank all the 17 authors of this book. Thank you for taking your time for rewriting or redesigning your dissertation. But I would like to thank you especially for being open and understand that this project means sharing with the academic and the business community your experience, your knowledge, and a part of what you have learned during the MBA program. I really appreciate this, and I thank you for this effort. Secondly, I would like to thank the TE team. I would like to thank Bianca. I would like to thank Ovidiu, and I would like to thank Andrea, because you were present and you were part of this project since the beginning, and your input was quite useful and valuable for the final outcome. Last but not least, I would like to thank Andy. To be honest with you all, he didn't perform any hard work or any consistent effort. He did only one thing, but quite essential for this project. He constantly encouraged us, the project team, in order to go further. Good work, well done, what's next, go further, were Andy's most frequent words. And this, as I said, help us going further, and in fact help us to reach the objective that we have set more than a year before. Now I would like to invite our guest speakers to share their thoughts. And I would like to start with Nick. Nick, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. I think you are on mute, the classic phrase for this period.
I didn't realize First of all, thank you, Alin. It's always nice to be a special guest, not just a normal guest. So very much appreciated for that. And yes, I've also been elevated to having control of my own microphone now. So who knows what's next for me. But yeah, thank you in particular, Alin, for organizing this and putting so much effort into the publication and production of this work. Also, thanks obviously to Bianca and the team and Andy, because I'm sure, in spite of what you say about Andy, even Andy must have done something to help to make this work. It's truly, it's an impressive feat, and we're very, very pleased to see it. I was asked to talk a little bit about the students and my experience of the MBA at Cluj in Romania. And I think every time I come to Romania, I always say, excuse me, how much I enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching MBA, but I particularly enjoy it in Cluj. And I'm not on my own in this. All Hull staff have to say the same thing about the Romanian MBA students. They're always friendly, they're always enthusiastic, and they're always committed. And the evidence of that's here in front of us, this Shaping the Future production. Good dissertations don't happen by chance. It takes enthusiasm, it takes commitment to produce them, and it takes an open, friendly culture to share them. And I'm really, really delighted that this work, some of the best work of our students, has been captured and shared in this open and inclusive way. It's a real showcase for the quality of the work that the Romanian students on the MBA are producing year after year, and there's no arrogance in this. It's not about hubris. It's not about massaging egos. It's all about celebrating the work that the MBA students have done. It's about showing the world what they're capable of. And it's also about raising the hopes and the aspirations of all those students that are going to follow in their footsteps. It's going to help all the future leaders, future business leaders in Cluj and beyond to reach higher and achieve more. So we're really proud at Hull to be part of this. So to close, I also want to just pay tribute to some of the students, all of the students that haven't made this first edition. I'm sure with a bit of tweaking, a bit of encouragement from Andy, a bit of polish, a bit of refining, every one of you can produce the sort of work that is worthy of the next volume of this growing series. Who knows, in 10 years' time, when volume 10 is out, even my dissertation from all those years ago might even make it as a feature, maybe in a special edition, who knows. But thank you very much for the invitation to talk to you, and congratulations, all of you who have produced the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, for your kind words. I would like to invite David, who coordinated many dissertations here in Romania, to tell us about his impression about this activity and how does he feel working with MBA students in Romania. David, can you hear us?
No problem. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that invitation. It's nice to follow my friend Nick. Nick lives 5 miles away from me, but I very rarely see him because of the lockdown situation. I'm very pleased indeed to be invited to say some words about what I consider is a tremendous group of students, regardless of which cohort they're in. If I can just give you a minute or so about me, and then I'll move to the students and their projects. I came to Hull University Business School in 2001. I came from Durham University, where I was in fact the MBA director there. And I came to Hull as the first and only postgraduate director. That post disappeared after about 3 or 4 years, and I carried on looking after different parts of the MBA. And particularly, I loved looking after the overseas MBA, but at that time, we didn't have Romania. I finished full-time at Hull in 2012, and rather foolishly probably carried on working freelance for Hull and Manchester Business School, Manchester Metropolitan, York St John, etc. The first student I came to know from Romania was a wonderful gentleman called Alin Baiescu. I don't know if I pronounced his name correctly, but I'm pretty sure he did a very good dissertation for 2 reasons. One is because I remember it being a very good dissertation. And secondly, he ultimately ended up doing a PhD at Hull University, where I'm one of his informal advisors for various roles. I'm not allowed to supervise as I'm not full-time there. But Aura was my first and my most, what shall we say, my first pleasing introduction to Romanian student. I never had worked with Romanian students before. I've heard of Romania, I knew where it was, but I'd never met any students. I didn't know anything about the educational system. Well, I'm pleased to say not only are the students outstanding that I've come across, also your educational system must be doing something right, because it's a great pleasure to work with them, as Nick said. I've supervised about 12 dissertations in all, based on Romanian students. I met quite a few of them a couple of years ago at graduation, when the university moved its graduation location from the City Hall to a newish music hall called the, what's it called? It's called the Bonus Arena, that's right. So I met quite a few there, about 6 came across, and that was a pleasure as well. Now, I supervised 12 dissertations, and I was struck by the quality of these dissertations in 3 areas. First of all, Nick has already mentioned the enthusiasm, the pleasure, the energy with which your students participate, or our students participated. I found all of them to be of good quality. They did not require a huge amount of hand-holding from me. They were all very, very good. Also, I noticed some of the factors, and when I looked at the synopsis of this book we're talking about today, they're present in there. The first of these was they are very often multifaceted. The dissertations, whilst they may concentrate on one aspect of business management research, excuse me, they're also able to link up other aspects of research and come across as very much a whole piece of work. And the other one, and relatedly, is I found a lot of them had one eye on the future. This is what's happening. This is what we need to understand, what's happening in the future. And I found them absolutely outstanding pieces of work. I don't supervise many now because in this elevated title as honorary visiting professor, I'm not required to do very much, but I'm pleased to say my wife also does quite a bit of supervision. She's got 3 or 4, I think, at the moment. And on a personal note, I'd like to mention to any of you who know us that she successfully completed her doctorate last summer at York St John University. She did an outstanding piece on comparisons of negotiating behaviour between GCC Arabs and British. And Nick, I think this is more likely to fit into a book compared to my 40-year-old PhD thesis. I've always wanted to go to Cluj, and we've been talking about that. Come on to Cluj. And particularly a couple of years ago, I remember that the local football team was in the Europa League. and I was trying to manage something to get across then, but A, I couldn't do it, and B, I got knocked out. Never mind. I support Liverpool these days, so I'm used to being sad. I used to finish my sessions when I was teaching by saying to the students this, or MBA students, whatever you do not do a PhD or a DBA, whatever you do. And the students would say to me, David, why? And I say, because it's so different than an MBA. It's such a different journey. I've now changed my journey. I've changed my opinion because I'm now working for a company that sells training in pre-PhDs. So I said, go and do a doctorate. But if you do, and I'm sure some of you may want to, make sure you're going to be as successful as possible by doing some early training. Certainly, I think the work that the ones I've supervised have done, probably all of them are capable of being amplified into a good DBA or a good PhD. It's not for everybody, I appreciate that. But in summary, let me say, as Nick said, the quality of work, the enthusiasm, the time management, the hard working that you put into it, all suggest that whatever you do, you're going to be successful at it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, for your words. Now that you are so enthusiastic about your experience, now I'm thinking to start another MBA. Thank you for that.
I need a rest.
Okay, thank you. Now I would like to invite TB to see some thoughts, not from the academic part, but from the business community part. And I'm quite curious to find out how the business community sees this product that we are launching today. TB, please.
Thank you, Alin. Indeed, I'm not going to make a book review now. I am one of the founders of the Transilvania Business Education Association, which started this collaboration with the Cluj University. I'm really happy to have reached this point. And though I don't really know exactly what are the doctor's recommendations for the number of MBAs one should take for a healthy life, I really don't. So Alin, maybe you check on that. First of all, I would really like to thank you for the very nice signed copy I already got of the book. So I guess I'm one of the lucky ones to already have one. I browsed through the pages and I just love the diversity of the works. It's really a collection of business story and about entrepreneurship, about this city, about this region. And as you know, in time, I have come to personally know all of you guys from the cohort and all of you from the 17 authors in the book. And I was happy when you joined the business school. And I have to tell you this, I really enjoyed the style of your work and the style of your team, which was quite different in a way. And I think that this joy of you being together was probably the main power, the main energy driver behind all these initiatives you've got. So having said that, personally know you, I think that most importantly, what I want to say is that I think that each and every one of you will make a difference in the future. And I will definitely follow up on what you guys are being up to. With some of you, I already do. So I think that, the best is yet to come. Straight on for the days ahead. And congratulations to all of you. I am really happy for this celebration. And I look forward to seeing you, face to face in one of our next, hopefully this year, celebration parties, not just Zoom parties, because Zoom parties are not enough as per doctors' recommendations. So looking forward to. Thank you, Alin, for your kind invitation, and thank all of you.
Thank you very much, TB, for your kind words also. I propose to you all to start to discuss in details about the book. As I said, it's a collective project, and for the people that didn't see the book or didn't had the chance to read it or to order it, I can say that the current volume offers an inside perspective into the transformation of the Romanian business environment, outlining the emergence of a new generation of business leaders able to drive change in their organizations and explore new possibilities and marketplaces. As it has already been said, all the authors are executive MBA graduates at the University of Hull, enrolled on the Romanian side between 2017 and 2020. And all the papers included in this book represent dissertations that have been awarded with a distinction. This collection of case studies focusing on businesses operating in Romania outlines not only the penetration of new business trends and the adoption of new processes and management procedures, but also the growth and transformation of the Romanian business community. The reader will see not only the transformation taking place across small, medium, and large companies operating in Romania, but also how managers and business leaders understand these transformations, how they approach new practices, and how they make sense of a fast-changing world where old models are disrupted and new business architectures and ideas emerge. The book is structured on 4 main chapters, and the first one that the book has, it's called Strategy and Change. We have here 6 papers written by 6 authors: Teodor Băbuț, Mirela Târnovan, Florian Sămărghițan, Cristinela Velicu, Ovidiu Cernea, and Gabriel Souca. And I would like to ask one of the authors, and I would like to ask Gabi Souca two questions, and I'm quite curious about his answers. Gabi, how can companies reinvent their business strategies while using available academic tools for this? And second, how can one tell if the internal organization is ready for the change?
Hi, first of all, hello. Congratulations, Alin, for the book and for all the effort. Regarding your questions, I'm a big fan of using researches and academic tools for creating strategy. And I compare creating strategy without using the proper tools with using Waze without an internet connection. You will still see where you are going, but you won't be able to see when, and you will never know where the police is. Yes, using tools for creating or strategy can have benefits, but can also have vulnerabilities and risks. To give you an example, between 2018 and 2020, I was a general manager of an energy efficiency company in Romania. It was a very small company, not relevant in the market, and in 3 years, I managed to transform it to the most, let's say, one of the most agile players in the market. How I did this, I used a Blue Ocean strategy tool, a book wrote in 2005, a book that studied 150 companies from 30 industries over 100 years, and came to the conclusion that companies can create a market space of their own where competition is irrelevant. I will give you some examples: Cirque du Soleil, Philips, Canon, or even public companies like the Police Department of New York. Yeah, it's for a small company, it's very difficult to create a long-term strategy, especially in the energy efficiency market where we had big players, and the type of projects were decided by the funds available on the European Union. Analyzing a lot the Blue Ocean strategy tool, we decided that the best approach is not to focus on the market, but to focus on the organization, to prepare the organization for the changes in the market. We worked a lot on strategy execution and strategic alliances, two pillars from the Blue Ocean strategy. And by doing that, I'll give you an example. We were able to make offers in 2 days versus 2 weeks for our competitors, or delivering in 4 weeks versus 3 months our competitors. The risks were related mainly to the fact that some tools can be outdated or obsolete, and in the same time the vulnerabilities are related to the fact that in the end tools are a way to open your mind, to create structure and to develop critical thinking. But you cannot strictly rely on them. Without the proper, let's say, execution and market analysis, you cannot reshape your strategy strictly with the tools. As a conclusion, I would like to finish with the analogy with the Waze app. So by using the tool Waze Maps without the proper execution, internet connection, and analyzing your competition, information gathered by other Waze users, you will get at one point at your destination, but you just might be too late or not choose the optimum road to get you there in time.
So Gabi, you succeeded to take a traditional strategy and apply it in a slightly different manner and obtain the results you wanted. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct, yes.
And you succeeded to value your MBA experience because you applied this strategy exactly during your MBA program.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's a real case when the client used and valued what he has received during such an executive program.
Yes, and paid for it, of course.
Yes, but I'm sure you had a very good return on investment.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you, Gabi, for being so kind and share with us your thoughts. The second part of the book, it is called People and Organizations, and this part explores the changes that companies can make in creating more equitable and more empowering working environments. We have here 5 researches, 5 papers written by Doru Șupială, by Daniela Secara, by Dan Bizubac, by Olguța Totolici, and by Marius Moldovan. And for the beginning, I would like to ask Doru, which are some of the most efficient approaches in recruiting and retaining the best people with the best skills? Doru, you have an extended experience in this area. I'm quite curious about what you can answer to this, let's say, challenging question.
Hello, everybody. The short answer is money. The long answer is much complicated and represents the truth. To attract and maintain, not retain, people in the organization, you need today to create a partnership. And this is really complicated because you need to take into consideration your sector, the educational profile of the people you hire, lots of details related to their skills and to their needs of learning and developing themselves. So I suggest that managers should change their minds, because in majority nowadays we are still captive of an ancient and medieval mindset in many companies. They should change their mindset and should approach their colleagues and people as partners, as associates, in terms of building together a history of a new organization. That's my approach. That's the topic I have tried to describe in my thesis, and that's as well the topic of my book that will be published this year at Curteveche Publishing in Romania. So I believe that business owners and managers should understand that the employer brand is equally important as their commercial brands and their corporate brand. Actually, all these three are the three facets of the same brand, and you cannot go outside with a perfect face, but with a dark side of cosmetic on your face. Yeah, so you cannot trick it, you cannot fake it, you don't have to lie. You need to tell the truth and be the one organization people know, customers know, and business partners know.
Doru, your answer is quite interesting, and my feeling is that there are a certain high level of actions. So I would dare to push a little bit the limit and ask you, what would be one single activity that I can do tomorrow in my company in order to achieve this better retention and recruiting better quality of people? One small action, because sometimes people are eager to receive recipes. Do this, mix this with this, and you will obtain something else. What can I do starting tomorrow in my company?
Choose one of your employees, okay, randomly, and change position with that employee for 1 week.
Okay. And this will lead to a better understanding of what he or she is doing, and vice versa.
You will be surprised that some of his decisions would be better than yours.
Okay.
At some point.
Okay.
Of
course, I should call you, Doru, and we can give you a feedback.
Experiment, but we need to. You see, we have a TV show on Pro TV with business owners discovering how hard the work of their employees is, being surprised of the conditions they find in their own organizations. This shouldn't happen in reality.
Agree. Okay, thank you very much, Doru. Daniela Secara, you also had a very interesting paper that is in this section of the book. I recall that being in the same cohort, you were very concerned about your topic, and you were asking also your colleagues about how to manage the situation that you research. So I would like to ask you, Daniela, how do millennials, because you focus your research on the millennials, how do millennials shape the labor market and the organizational structures? Which are their attitudes and expectations?
Thank you, Alin. Good evening, everybody. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the paper book. I'm hoping that next time we're going to have an audible book, but we can meet each other and discuss more live, not online. Because I think everybody misses direct interaction between us. Regarding millennials, yes, it was a very interesting subject for me, as in the company that I run now, there are a lot of people from different generations, and the most interesting, I think, are the millennials and the ones that are following. And I totally agree with Doru, what he said earlier, that companies what need to focus now are the people. And this is something that millennials are looking at the company when they are deciding to choose where to get a job. Millennials are the first generation which they have a good financial background, let's say that, because they are coming from parents that can assure them a place to stay, and they want to stay more with their parents than the previous generations. So they're not. They are looking to earn money, and yes, money it's one of the most important motivation also for them, but it's not the only thing, and it's not the most important thing. They are looking to work in companies where the main drive are the people, and the companies that are looking to improve the society they are living or have an impact on. So we see a lot of this also during this pandemic. The companies that started to care more about the people, as we are talking about employees or even clients.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. So if we succeed to share common values with the millennials, then this is the key in working together and reaching corporate objectives.
Exactly.
Okay. The third part of the book is called Technology and Entrepreneurship. We have here three authors, Catalina Vescan, Antal Florian, and Victor Pop. In this third part, the readers can find out how technology and entrepreneurship come together and produce new trends and developments in the Romanian business environment. This part focuses on the emergence of communities of practice and the development of a culture of entrepreneurship, together with new trends in incorporating technology in designing buildings and adoption of new standards of performance in the software industry. And I would like to ask Antal Florian, one of the authors present in this part, how to introduce the perception of team performance in an agile organization.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
Thank you, Alin, for the question. So as with any change in an organization, we can apply the Lewin's change management model, like unfreeze, change, refreeze. In the first stage, we would need to evaluate the need for introducing the perception of team performance by asking questions like, how agile are the teams in your organization? And in my paper, I present a set of tools that can go and further analyze and get answers to this question. We need to listen what the answer is, to have a common understanding of what performing teams means in that organization's perception, and most importantly, what measures they can use or would like to use to, of course, naturally improve those performance indicators. We should remind that reaching the sustainable pace in an agile organization that can be held indefinitely would be the ultimate goal. In the second stage, we should set up for performance by involving and empowering all team members in the decision-making process. We should define clear roles and responsibilities, define upfront agile KPIs like velocity, lead time, cycle time, define agile practices that are relevant for that specific team, like continuous integration, automation testing, having retrospectives, time boxing, and so on. We should clearly define the communication channels and, most importantly, put the importance on feedback from any direction between the team members, from outside. So any type of feedback that would be useful to improve performance. Maybe you'll never get into the refreeze stage, as with continuous improvement, you can't anchor these changes into the culture, but it would be recommended to measure the change, the successful process improvements that happened in time. Of course, after a while, transfer an individual from a high-performing teams to a newly forming one, so you can contribute to organizational learning. Offer visibility on team performance within the organization. And remember that performance in Agile is a journey, not a destination. I hope I managed to answer your question.
Yes, Antal, thank you very much. You are very structured in your response, so we can have some takeaways with us. Thank you very much. And I would like to pass to the next part of the book, the last one, the fourth one, which is entitled Innovation and Ethics. We have here 3 papers. In this section, the authors bring a new perspective to the table by identifying the challenges and the opportunities companies have in producing prosperity for both their employees and partners, as well as for customers and stakeholders. We have 3 authors. We have Florina Popâlțac, we have Raluca Frâncu, and myself. And I would like to ask Raluca the following question. Are the new generation of business incubators a disruptive innovation that could positively impact Romanian startup challenges?
Hello, Alin. I hope you see me and hear me, because I have a bad connection.
Hello, Raluca.
The short answer is yes. All of my research was based on how incubators can help startups, and if startups that are incubated or accelerated can live longer, or if they grow the rate of startup failure. And I would like to say that in the company I work for, I also had the program of a virtual incubator for the last 3 years. And we just finished it in March in this year. And I had the opportunity to test my my incubator thesis, and we had 46 startups that started the incubator program, and only 2 drop-offs. So about about 90% rate of success. So I think the short answer is that startups, incubators are very helpful for startups, and they could be called a disruptive innovation for them.
Okay, Raluca, thank you very much. Listening to you, I recall that at a certain moment, I was asked when I was an MBA student, what are the most important two added values for me? And I said that one was that what I learned, I could apply in my daily activity. And this is, I think, one of the strengths of this MBA, because the selection was performed among the students. The ones that were accepted were people that could value and use and apply what they have learned, which is extraordinary. And what you said, Raluca, reflects exactly this idea. And of course, the second added value is the networking. And as I recall, it was written in an article posted on TE blog. Many of the students succeeded to change their position in a new company, or they were promoted during this program. So this is indeed from a student's perspective what is valuable from the TE and University of Hull MBA. I would like now to invite other persons that are attending our event to address questions or to share their thoughts after after they heard what we discussed. So, courage and ask, courage and share. Nobody? So in this case, I would like to invite Andy to share his thoughts.
Thank you very much, Alin. I'd like to say it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and of course it is. But actually, I'm really kind of quite humbled by the fact that we're here this evening. And the real pleasure is knowing how much everybody seems to have taken away from a program like this. I recall when we started right back at the beginning, sitting in Professor Luktash's office, and it's great that she's here with us today, trying to figure out how we were going to get together a brochure that was of sufficient quality to take to Hull to impress them that we were genuinely serious about this. And here we are today, having the second book produced by our EMBA students. And as I think I'm right in saying, Nick will be able to correct me, and certainly David with his length of history in Hull, this is the first book of a collection of MBA dissertations from the University of Hull. Am I right in thinking that? So we're delighted because, you know, we try quite hard with relatively small resources. We are a small team to try and push the boundaries of what we can do and what is possible. And we know we annoy people intensely sometimes trying to push those boundaries. But from where we started, this is a remarkable achievement. But from my personal point of view, there are two aspects about it that are particularly appealing. One is that this has come from the students themselves. This isn't something where I've kind of pressed people into doing it and struggled and cajoled people. Absolutely not. Frankly, they've been busy, as Alin hinted at, cajoling me into doing my bits. That's a real pleasure, because that also reveals to me something else about the MBA, because the MBA is set up to produce two things. One is the idea of connected thinking, and the other is the statement of responsible leadership. And I think this book is living proof of how both of those boxes are being checked in a way that we're not simply checking the boxes. This isn't one of those things where you just check a box for accreditation or some kind of compliance purpose. This has emerged as a genuine example of real leadership, an attempt to share the knowledge that's come out of this MBA not only with your employers, but through this book, with a wider community, to give that sense of entrepreneurship a push. Transilvania Executive Education was founded on the idea that business education, executive business education, needed to be provided at a global standard of quality if Cluj was to continue to thrive as a sustainable centre of entrepreneurship. You've pushed the boundary of that way, way beyond where any of us, I think, in that room, when we started out this thinking about a brochure, could have ever imagined. If we'd have said that in 6 years, we would be here, I don't think anybody would have believed that. So for me personally, it's an absolute delight that we have reached this point. And this is an inspiration to people like me to keep pushing on. And I know from informal conversations with staff, as Nick alluded to previously, that staff are equally inspired by your achievements and very, very pleased to be able to engage with you. And just going back to the allusion that David Bright made to his football team, Liverpool, quite frankly, my football team is Hull City, so I have absolutely no sympathy with anybody who supports a club like Liverpool. But nonetheless, if Hull City were to have achieved what you have achieved as students, I'd be even more delighted. Sadly, they didn't. But nonetheless, that may be not surprising to anybody but me. But I do think that you are setting a standard that we couldn't have dreamed of to start with, pioneering something that has never been done, combined with the reputation that Romanian students have achieved within the teaching faculty of Hull and beyond. This is achieving global standards. I'm absolutely certain that when we started, we wouldn't have expected to have been doing that. And I don't think there's any dispute that you have done it, but to have done it in a way that is about giving, rather than just taking the grades, to me suggests both it is sustainable and it, as I say, it humbles me. And I think I'm right in saying it humbles many of the staff that have had the privilege of teaching you to be part of what you've been doing and continue to do. So all it remains for me to do is to wish you well, as you are now alumni, and hope that we can continue to be of support to you as you take your careers forward. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy being part of your story.
Thank you very much for...
Thank you, Andy, and thank you all. No, I'm not jumping in, but on conclusions or so. So I wanted to thank you all for this experience, and I'm seeing Doru and Catalina and also Adi and Marius and people from my my cohort. So I'm happy that we managed to get through the MBA and publish our work. Amazing work, and I cannot wait to see the book and go through your articles and yeah, I'm closely monitoring you all to see what are you doing and what is the next steps for you. So glad to see you all, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Christina. You broke the ice, so if anybody else would like to share or to tell us what they feel, what they are thinking of. Andy, surprisingly, I agree with everything you said this time. I agree that we succeeded to push the boundaries, but I want to underline a very important aspect. You created the context for us to push the boundaries, and I'm really thankful to you and to your team for this. As I see now, Bianca shared with you the link where you can order the book. As you may know, the book is printed at the Presa Universitară Clujana. They have there a special page where the book can be ordered. so hurry. They don't have so many copies. We think that high quality products don't have to be in high quantity. So if you want to grab a copy, hurry to order. And I think I would like to close this event. So I think we succeeded to go through the agenda. We succeeded to share our thoughts. We succeeded to have good emotions and to see each other. So now that we succeeded to have these high standards of achievements, I think we have to break also these ones and to go further. Yes, Andy? What do you say?
Absolutely, reach for the stars. That way you'll at least reach the moon.
Okay. Once again, a special thanks to our guests. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, David. Thank you, TB. We end up here. Hope to see you face to face as soon as possible. And all the best to you all.
Thank you. Take care.
Ciao. Bye.
Thank you, Alin. Cheers.
All the best to you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.